Hey guys, welcome to this week's podcast episode. And I've got an interesting guest for you today, Ross Keating, and his mantra is realizing potential. And he is the founder of Nextree Business Growth Consultancy, located in Australia. And today we're talking about knowing buyer personalities. He's got an interesting quiz that you can take at the end for free to increase your sales and influence significantly, communication, customer retention, and all around sales. So, Ross, welcome.
Chris, thank you very much for having me on the show today. I'm just delighted to be here. And as you can see, I'm in Sydney down under. And so I might talk a little bit too fast, but I'll try and slow it down.
Yeah. Yeah. We had connected through pod matching. Tell people about your background and your story and how you got started.
Sure. I've been in the independent business consulting space for nearly 20 years now. And it, I've always been a troubleshooter in my corporate life and doing things. I like to solve problems. And so it's a natural bent. And also customer relationship management has always been a passion for me, serving others and doing it to the best of my ability and finding ways to keep in contact. And over the years, I got involved in technology. And in 2005, I actually moved to Australia from New Zealand with my wife and family. And I was going for a job at a really important big insurance company, financial services company in Queensland, in Brisbane, about 1,000 miles north of Sydney. And I came second. And for some reason, they didn't want to pay me a salary for coming second, and my wife wanted to have bread on the table and a roof over her head. And so she said, well, you got to do something rather than just waiting for another job. And I decided to go out there and become a business consultant. Would be the best way to do it because I can control my future. And so over those years, I've worked and specialized around bringing that. I guide business owners in effective communication to build better sales and marketing strategies, customer relationships, and customer retention, and also use state-of-the-art technology. So it's a combination of those, but it's really so that they become more relaxed, less stressed, and they're able to achieve their business and personal goals. And that's the outcome of it. Because as with their businesses, I can only achieve really three things. I can help them increase their sales and their revenue. I can help them increase their productivity of their staff and get more bang for the marketing buck. So that's it in a nutshell. And obviously, as we were talking just before we started, personality profiling and understanding buyer personas is absolutely important to what we do, whether it's in our business life or our personal life, because we're trying to influence our children to do what we want them to do. And we want people to, if we've got personal relationships, we're trying to make that work. So that's why I use personality profiling tools like the one that we talked about from Codebreaker Technologies.
Yeah. And which kind of brings me to my next question is this. People talk about buyer profiles, avatars, and buyer personas. What are they? How are they different? Why are they important?
Well, buyer avatars and personas, to me, I'm not a marketer as a specialist marketer. I'm a dangerous beast. I know quite a bit about marketing. But my perception is they're very much the same, but avatar creates a stronger image because you start putting a face to all the words about their age, where they live, what they like to buy, what they're interested in, and all those things that make up a buyer persona, which is quite detailed. And in fact, I've got two buyer personas for my business. One, his name is called Michael. His name is Michael, and I've got a picture of him, and he looks very similar to you, Chris. In looks as how I've got an image of him in there. So when I'm actually writing anything with him with that buyer persona in mind, I'm talking to Michael. And I have another one called Lauren. And Lauren is a slightly younger person in their 30s to 45, but they own a business and things like that. But I've got a picture of Lauren there. And so when I'm talking to that, and then obviously I have to adjust if I don't know who's going to read it. I'll do it. So that's why it's really important. Where does personality there? Everybody has personality, and we have DISC with people with DISC and Myers, Briggs and True Colors, all great, fantastic tools that tell you about you. Well, the other part of when you're in sales and trying to influence and increase your impact, whether it's with charities or in your business trying to sell or with your relationships, it's about influence the other person. And it's a lot easier to influence the other person if you know what their personality is. You can't give them a 15-minute test to do it. You can't just hand it over to them. But with the one that we were talking about, the Codebreakers bank personality profile, I'll hold up those cards. I would say to you, before we start, I'd say, Chris, would you mind doing me a favor? Just have a look at the information on the cards, sort them into the order that is most like you. There's number one, and which is least likely you, and then put the other two in between. And then we can have personality. And then I know your personality. We did that just before. And my personality, I've shown my personality is knowledge, action, nurturing, and blueprint. And that helps it. But that makes life a lot easier because then I can talk in your language, the language that you respond to, not my language, particularly if you're different. If people are action orientated, I'm about not detail, but I like data and universal truths and competence, and I like logic, and I love technology. A person who's action orientated, like, they hate being in a box of any kind, and they blow it up because they're fast talking. They want the action, the fun, the freedom, the flexibility. They're a millionaire, and they're going 100 miles an hour. They just want the bottom line. So if you're talking to one of those and I try to swamp them with data, eyes are going to glaze over and you're going to lose them. Yet if you get a person who's nurturing in nature, they're about personal growth and teamwork and charities and relationships. And if you try to say, hey, trust me, and that this is the best deal you'll ever see, it's like this, and you have lots of fun, they're going to say, what's it going to do for me? How's it going to help with my personal growth, my community? And you've got to bring it back to them and talk about those things and how you can help them and do all those things. And that, by linking that with your buyer personas and avatars, is so important because if you recall, I said I can help people with increase their sales and influence and their revenue. And that's by changing those. It's proven by studies from the State University of San Francisco, is that you can actually do that by changing your language to those people. And the other part of it is you can also increase your influence because you want your kids to do what you want. So you have to talk in what they do. And it's a real amazing difference that you can do. And if you're working with charities and things like that, and you're trying to get that across, you're better able to do it if you understand the personality types. And if you're in real estate, trying to buy real estate, you're trying to negotiate a deal with somebody, you're on either side. You are better able to do it if you're talking their language. So that's why I'm really passionate about understanding who, and marketers in general, why you have an avatar, why you have a buyer persona, why you make your marketing reflect that.
Yeah, really. Yeah, this is quite interesting. And what it sparked to me was this idea of this what is this idea? Just the audience really likes very brief. So one thing is talking about is you talk about segment and communicate. What is that in a nutshell?
Right. In a nutshell, you often have big databases or quite a large number of people that you're in there, and you send one thing out, it's only going to really appeal to one set of the audience. So if you can break them down to subgroups of your buyer personas, then you can better communicate to them. You can give them information that's relevant to them. And like I've got maybe 5,000 people in my database, yet I've got one thing there that will bring it down to 17 people because the information will be relevant to that 17. You can have it down to one person because Why give it to 5,000 people when only maybe 200 are interested in it?
I love that segmentation, like, and then, with like, for example, ConvertKit, you can put tags and people that click on things, you can segment them. Next question is, the other question is, briefly, why do you say a customer who complains is a business's most loyal customer? I'm very curious. It's kind of counterintuitive.
It is counterintuitive. Because 9 out of 10 people don't complain and they never come back. So this 10th person has come to you and said, you've got a problem. This is what you need to look at and fix. And you might be able to save the relationship. And when I was the national sales manager for a tourism company in New Zealand, I actually got a complaint. And I said to them, let's meet. And we actually used the ship, went on the ship that I was the sales manager for. And I talked to them. And as a result of that, we fixed the complaint. And they also said, well, that's fantastic, because we've got a group of people, and that was worth maybe $100,000. And they traveled with us about 6 months later, this large group, and it generated about six. So I saved their personal one, but we got additional business as a result. They're your most valuable customer. Listen to them, because 9 out of 10 have walked out the door. So that's why you have it. Try to find exit points to get their feedback before they leave if they're upset.
Yeah, I love that. And it's kind of like it's just feedback, right? And it's you want as much feedback as you can so you can know what's going on, what people are saying about because if the worst thing is people say nothing and then you have no business, but then if you have like really loyal fans and you have people that hate you, then you kind of understand like where you can fit in. The next question is, you can get to the underlying is, why do business say their CRM and marketing automation apps are not working? What is that?
Often now, the barrier to entry of getting a CRM is so low. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of CRMs on the market now of all different scales, and you can get them from zero price to megabuck dollars. The thing behind it is most people were buying $25 a month, $50 a month things, no investment. And they're so simple to put up, but very few people invest in getting training on how to use them, because that's the key. And so many businesses will get them, and then they say they didn't work because they didn't build it into their strategy. How do their salespeople use it? How does their account staff use it? How does their customer service staff use it? And who's putting into it? And what's not going in. And if they don't put their data in to help them, and it has to be easy for them to do it while they're on the road. Salespeople are busy on the road and they don't want to do stuff but you want to make it easy. And I use Nimble CRM as my one of choice, but there are hundreds, but people don't take the training. So that's why I say that 18 months to 2 years, I can guarantee you that's what people say about a CRM if they don't invest in taking some training. Invest in time and money to get people, but a lot of CRMs now have fantastic video training.
I love that. How can people find out more about you and take that personality quiz? Really interesting. I've always wanted to find out more and how you can minimize your weaknesses, maximize your strengths, and check out your work.
The best place is LinkedIn, or you can find me on Facebook. There's only one person that looks like me on the internet. You can find me. My name is Ross Keating. You type in Ross Keating into the LinkedIn, and I'm in Sydney, Australia, and I look like this. And I like to say that I'm Matt Damon's older brother, but yeah, people don't believe me. That's the best way. But because Chris, I will actually send you a link and a thing if you want to put it in the show notes. It's a very simple bit.ly/crack my code Ross. And they can take it, they'll get a comprehensive report customized to their personal type. It's valued at $99, but it's complimentary from there. And I can, always happy to talk to people about it. It's fun. I just love talking about customer relationships and business relationships. I love it. And thank you for the opportunity to have me on the show. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And any time I can get a guest who has like a new idea or concept or is on the cutting edge, just kind of shed light and new insights. I love it. For all of the audience out there, let's thank Ross for coming on, and be sure to give his socials a like and a follow and check out his work. And with that, thanks so much for coming on to the podcast.
Thank you very much, Chris. Bye for now.